10 Unsolved American Mysteries. Have you ever experienced something you couldn't explain? A strange presence you could feel but not prove? A sound that chilled you to the bone but that faded along with the morning mist? An unwavering certainty that something bad was going to happen that you could not explain? Welcome to Creepshow, where we delve into the eerie, the unknown, and the chilling. Today, we're uncovering 10 of the most spine-tingling unsolved American mysteries. From ghost towns haunted by cryptids to the unexplained disappearances of young women, these stories will keep you up at night. So, dim the lights, settle in, and let's explore the shadows together. Have you ever gone through an inexplicable event? Unbelievably odd presence that you could feel. A sound that shivered you to death, yet vanished with the mist of morning. A particular unshakable belief that something terrible was going to happen for no apparent reason. Most dismiss these occurrences since they are curious about the possible causes of the faint cry coming from a deep, dark forest or the electric charge in the air. By 2024, the unsettling, the unknown, and the eerie had all but become normal. For many, though, there are things they have pushed to the back of their minds, things they would rather not think about or worry about. These include circumstances people may have dodged or evaded just barely, yet they keep coming back to them in their thoughts. And some of these circumstances they cannot avoid. These issues are interwoven with the mysteries you're going to read. There are unexplained noises in the middle of the night, odd disappearances, unsolved killings, bizarre encounters, hideous beasts. The folks in these stories, like so many others, also want to go on and ignore the unsettling implications of what really happened, or what might yet transpire. Number 10. Incidents at Port Chatham. On the southernmost point of the Kenai Peninsula in Alaska lies the ghost town of Port Chatham. With animals abounding, mountain ranges spreading to both sides, and multiple great fishing locations, the peninsula is stunning. But as many have discovered, Port Chatham, Portlock itself, has a very unsettling quality. First populated in 1787, Port Chatham saw the opening of its first post office in the 1920s. Rumors of an evil creature stalking a nearby mining settlement started to spread about the same time the post office opened for business. Witnesses to the creature's devastation thought it walked on 2 feet, ruling out wolves or bears. A bipedal animal akin to a Yeti or Sasquatch was believed by some. People left Port Chatham, though, not because of the uprooted trees with their roots protruding above. The different dismembered remains that began to appear in rivers, lagoons, and along trails during World War II. Not that it wasn't unsettling enough, folks in Port Chatham started going disappearing for no apparent reason. The villagers had had enough quite soon after the conflict ended. They hurried off in quest of less eerie, monster, and dead body-free places. Hunters went back to the spot many years later and discovered human-like footprints measuring 18 inches, 46 centimeters. Still, the footprint patterns resembled those of wolves or deer. 3 hunters reported in 1973 that while they sought cover from a storm, a monster on 2 feet followed them. In 1990, an Anchorage paramedic treated a Port Chatham-born prisoner who was 70 years old. As he treated the prisoner, the paramedic struck up a conversation and revealed that he had gone hunting in the Port Chatham region. At this, the prisoner abruptly sat up straight and yelled, "Did you see it? Has it bothered you?" Nobody knows what the beast is that so many years ago terrified the living daylights out of so many villagers. The Port Chatham events remain a mystery. Number 9. The Route 29 Stalker. American serial killers and stalkers became well known by the middle of the 1990s. While some folks made sure they arrived home before dusk, others made investments in extra security. Sadly, especially after 1996, not everyone arrived home safely. In Virginia, things took a sinister turn between 2009 and 2014 when 5 young women vanished along Route 29. This road was used in 9 murders and disappearances overall, of which only 3 have been solved to yet. Convicted and imprisoned were the killers of Morgan Dana Harrington, Alexis Murphy, and Hannah Graham. Alicia Showalter Reynolds traveled to Charlottesville in 1996 from Baltimore. When she failed to show up for their 10:30 meeting in a Charlottesville mall, her mother got really concerned. Alicia's automobile was discovered with a paper napkin under the windshield wiper on a highway close to Culpeper about 6 o'clock that evening. But the automobile was in perfect working order. 3 people came forward as police were looking for Alicia to report seeing her conversing with a man in a pickup truck. Following that, 20 ladies claimed to have been contacted on the highway by a man driving a pickup truck. The guy would follow them, horning and flashing his lights to persuade them to stop. When the guy offered her a ride home and said something was amiss with her automobile, one woman started to get suspicious. The man was attempting to get off the road repeatedly along the trip. He shoved her from the car after she resisted. In the tumble, the woman shattered her ankle but managed to get away. Not Alicia Reynolds. 2 months after she vanished, her body was discovered 15 miles, 24.1 kilometers southeast of Culpeper. Julianne Williams, Laura Winans, Ann Carolyn McDaniel, Samantha Clark, and Sage Smith are among the many victims thought to have fallen prey to the Route 29 stalker. This 9 victims, which include Hannah Graham, Alexis Murphy, and Morgan Harrington, are a part of the Route 29 stalker mystery. Given that serial killer Richard Mark Evanitz was operating in the neighborhood at the time the victims vanished, some police officers and investigators think the stalker may have been him. A police drawing of the Route 29 stalker looked very like Rex Heuermann, the Gilgo Beach murder suspect, and in 2023, Alicia Reynolds' family begged authorities to look into her case again. But as of 2024, the killer is still undiscovered and there is just insufficient proof to support any of this. Number 8. Ghost of Henry Wells. Though most folks don't take them too seriously, Alabama is well known for its horrifying ghost stories. Ghosts are, after all, only delusions or the result of excessive drinking, aren't they? What then of the face seen through the courthouse window? The tale opens much like any other eerie urban legend. Henry Wells, it is alleged, destroyed the Pickens County Courthouse before a lynch mob attacked him. Not too long afterward, he was standing at the courthouse window pleading innocent. Lightning struck and etched his image onto the window as he was pleading with the throng. Though Wells said, "If you kill me, I am going to haunt you for the rest of your lives." It is believed that the mob killed him soon after. A lynch mob member saw Wells's warped face looking at him from the window as he passed the courthouse the following day. More people came by to see the horrific visage in the window as word of it spread. Despite chemical or soapy cleaning of the window, the image remained, and from inside the window they had no view at all. People still see the face in the window and hear loud wails coming from its mouth during stormy weather. Naturally, the official account of events is not this one. It is the urban legend version. Why, though, did the face in the window continue to show up long after the initial pane broke? However, according to a different account, the pane bearing the Wells impression is the only one in the courthouse that has never been damaged. Still, there is the face. Exists another, far more common explanation for this strange phenomena, or is this really Henry Wells? Number 7. Fate of Tom Kueter. Workmates discovered forklift driver Tom Kueter dead in June 1994. His forklift's wheels were beneath his smashed skull. At his death, he was just 29 years old. Tom had killed himself. The police swiftly came to the conclusion by loading the forklift with a ton of lumber, starting it, and then lying down in its path. They thought he did this because 4 days prior, he had been engaged in a co-worker's disappearance. After working a late shift at Black Hills Molding in South Dakota, Tina Marcotte was headed home when her tire blew out. Hoping Vicky, her closest friend, would be able to pick her up, she called. But Tina thanked Vicky over the phone for offering her a lift, bid her good night. Vicky never heard from Tina again, nor did her boyfriend Patrick. Next day, Tom and Patrick both arrived to Vicky's place. Vicky insisted on knowing what had transpired since Tom had promised to take Tina home. After Tom disputed this, Patrick eventually questioned him about if he and Tina had an affair before she vanished. As well, Tom disputed this. When both guys went to report Tina's disappearance, the police found that the missing woman had cut her car tire with a knife. When questioned about giving Tina a ride home, Tom Kueter insisted he had never seen her. He reported to the police that his automobile had broken down and that he had spent up to 4 hours repairing it. He did not tell the police that, upon arriving home at 3:30 a.m., he changed his clothing right away. Police told Tom they were testing blood they found in his car the day before he was discovered dead. It was irrelevant by the following morning since Tom was dead, and the authorities believed he had killed Tina before ending his own life. But Tom's family thinks someone else killed him as well. His wife insisted he would never leave her and their children behind. 16 months after Tina Marcotte vanished, her body was eventually discovered beneath a woodpile at the site where she and Tom worked. Was Tom a suicider? Vicky or Patrick was the one who killed him? Probably never going to find out. Number 6. Hut at the Lakes of the Clouds. Hikers can follow the Ammonoosuc Ravine Trail as it winds through a portion of New Hampshire. Though it is a difficult trek, the vistas are amazing at the finish. Hikers can spend the night at the hut run by the Appalachian Mountain Club while touring the region. Then, some of them might not want to. A separate hut stood where the AMC is now in 1901. The purpose of the one, like the AMC hut, was to shelter hikers. 2 hikers lost their lives attempting to summit Mount Washington, and thus it was constructed. Anybody who has made the same endeavor will be aware of Mount Washington's extremely severe weather, particularly its powerful winds. This mountain has claimed the lives of 150 hikers mostly due to these circumstances, and numerous terrified hikers have claimed that the spirits of the 150 dead still linger in the AMC hut. When hiking season began, an AMC member assigned to open the hut did not show up. Huddling beneath a sink, terrified beyond belief, was where a rescue team discovered him. He could not get out and informed the rescuers he saw faces floating before him. Even those who denigrate the slain hikers have been said to find themselves prodded by invisible hands. What, though, did the AMC member see that so horrified him, considering that ghosts don't exist, right? Pushing trekkers about on the trail is who or what, and when hikers stay at the hut, who is stealing their shoes to the extent that they have tacked them to the wall? Number 5. The Petrified Rock Curse. Worldwide, there are hundreds of well-known sites, and people actually seem to be unable to take their hands off of them. While tourists grab lava rocks from national parks in Maui, visitors to the Colosseum frequently steal fragments of stone. The petrified rock and fallen petrified trees of Utah's Escalante, Petrified Forest State Park are almost irresistible to both residents and tourists. Till the curse materializes. It makes no difference to most of them that taking petrified rock or wood in this state park is forbidden. They think the fabled curse of the park sends their life into a downhill spiral, so they mail back the pebbles. Every year, the park gets dozens of letters with descriptions of fatalities, terrible illnesses, ruined marriages, and vehicle accidents. The curse is to be blamed for all of these terrible occurrences. Besides, there are legends from the 1930s about the fragments of petrified wood and stone. One individual collected some of the petrified wood but expressed in his letter his strong doubts about the curse. Then, though, he had 3 mishaps in a succession, and his motorhome caught fire. The state park supposedly carries an old curse that says Anyone who takes petrified wood or stone will be doomed for eternity. But nobody knows why or who pronounced the so-called curse. Why do up to 6 people return the pieces they have taken each month if there is no curse? Number 4. The disappearance of Cindy Anderson. 1980 found 20-year-old Cindy Anderson going through a difficult period. She started to have horrific nightmares and quickly started to worry that they might be warnings of something awful about to happen. Her most vivid nightmare had her opening the door to a man she knew. She flees, but the man follows her. August 1981 brought her biggest worries to pass. Cindy was a Toledo legal office secretary. She constantly locked the door, especially when she worked alone, out of additional care. This was mostly because a few months later the writing was erased, but the message reappeared weeks later on the wall in front of her office window. I love you. Cindy by GW. Worse, someone started calling and bothering her at work. Cindy's bosses put in a bell at her desk that would notify a neighboring company in case of emergency. Cindy helped a customer on August 3rd who needed to pay an account. Cindy got 2 calls, the client subsequently remembered, and both times she immediately hung up. She seemed scared, he remembered as well. The client called the police to inquire about Cindy because the occurrence had so unsettled him. The following day, Cindy once more worked alone at the office. She last appeared about 9:45 a.m. She was not there when her bosses showed there at midday. The air smelled strongly of nail polish remover, the 2 lawyers noticed. A scene in the book Cindy was reading had the protagonist kidnapped at knife point, and it was left open. The company parking lot still held Cindy's automobile, but her handbag and keys were gone. Both her social security number and the money taken out of her bank account were never used. A woman informed the local police station, shortly after Cindy vanished, that she was alive and being detained in a White House's basement. Police were never able to locate the residence because the woman would not tell them where it was. When GW, the message sender, came forward, he informed the police that his love notes were intended for another Cynthia. This was Cindy's real name. The initials GW were always visible to a handyman at the law firm where Cindy worked. Nothing improper was ever charged against him. The authorities are no closer to cracking the case 43 years after it began. Who called Cindy so often? Taken by whom? Exists a place where she is being held alive? Did she vanish by herself? Number 3. The Shaman's Portal in Beaver Dunes Park. Travelers and residents alike love Beaver Dunes Park in the Sooner State for its 300 acres, 121 hectares, of sandhills, campgrounds, hiking paths, and fishing areas. But some won't come here because they think they might run across some of the weird phenomena that occur in the area known as Oklahoma's Bermuda Triangle. Over the years, a number of persons have vanished from the dunes here, beginning in the 1500s when men accompanying Francisco Coronado vanished. Over the dunes, it is reported, green lightning bursts were visible at the moment of their disappearance. Native Americans are also reported to have attempted to warn Coronado of the dangers of the area by refusing to walk anywhere near the dunes. Not paying attention to the cautions, Coronado noted in his notebooks that the men had disappeared before his very eyes. Because of these disappearances and the ones that followed, most people assumed that the dunes housed a shaman's portal. Both a Colorado tourist in 1987 and a pioneer woman vanished here in 1897. There are many who think the dunes were the scene of a UFO crash and that the sand conceals the spacecraft's remains. Even stories of guys digging in the sand in the middle of the night have been made. What then became to the other travelers with Coronado all those years ago? The other 2 persons that vanished in the park? A portal truly pulled them in? Had anything to do with the flashes of green lightning? What of the assertions made by Dr. Mark Thatcher that individuals who matched the description of the men in black closed down his research in the 1990s? Still unknown is the reason. Number 2. The mystery of the white bird biplane. By becoming the first aviators to fly a plane non-stop across the Atlantic Ocean, Charles Nungesser and Françoise Colli sought to earn the $25,000 Orte Prize in 1927. Starting from an airstrip just outside of Paris, they flew their biplane, White Bird or L'Oiseau Blanc, with the intention of crossing between Europe and North America. Plans called for landing on May 9th in New York Harbor, close to the Statue of Liberty. Unfortunately, the scheme apparently went wrong somewhere over the water, and Nungesser and Colli never made it to their destination. The late Arthur Dolan of Princeton in Washington County is one of the many explanations put out regarding the aviator's disappearance. He believed the pilots had crashed on Medibemps Lake during their emergency landing attempt. In 1958, Dolan and a buddy hunted deer in Down East Maine. Dolan saw wreckage of a crashed aircraft as they walked into the woods. Just the beams that had been fastened to the frame remained. Wheels, cockpit, fuselage, and wings were all gone. The disappearance of the White Bird was news to neither guy at the time. Dolan remembered what he and his friend had seen 30 years previously as soon as he read about the missing jet when he eventually got to Princeton in 1988. He set off in quest of the debris with his buddy Al Stevens. Though they went down the same route into the woods, they were unable to locate it. Dolan unsuccessfully urged specialists to use the newest equipment to search the site before his death in 2017. A Maine blueberry picker named Harold Vining also reported hearing a jet rumbling overhead on May 9, 1927, but was unable to see it through the fog. A couple heard and watched the plane pass miles away. A hermit by the name of Anson Berry heard a smash in the hills adjacent to the lake he was fishing. Did Dolan then locate the White Bird's wreckage in 1958? In that case, what became of it? If not, did the aircraft crash, and if so, where is it? That day, given how many people heard a plane, it probably did. Will anyone ever recover it, though, and learn what caused the crash? Number 1. The Second Life of James Kellow. Charlie, then 4 years old, one typical day sucked the wind out of his mother's sail. Charlie exclaimed, "I died once," as Mary and her kids were heading back to her car from a cliff diving show. Mary laughed and corrected her son. "You mean dived once?" Charlie added. "I died once and it hurts," glancing at her. Startled, Mary inquired of her son to clarify. One of several exchanges that finally resulted in an explosive conclusion was when the youngster told her that his leg was severely injured, and these talks connected to one James Kellow from San Francisco. When the cruiser Kellow was serving aboard was bombed, he died while carrying a survivor crew member onto a nearby beach. Mary found out via her kid, who thought he was Kellow in a past life. Mary eventually located the USS Arizona list and the name James Kellow after doing research on a number of warships. Death of Kellow matched what Charlie had told her. His body was found following the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor when the Arizona was hit and detonated. Reincarnation exists, if Charlie's account is accurate. If not, how on earth did Charlie come to know James Kellow at all? A 4-year-old at random learned about a Navy officer who passed away in 1941. What of all the other accounts of reincarnation, some of which also include the attack on Pearl Harbor, if Mary was lying, as some people think? Professionals in the medical and academic fields have been researching reincarnation for many years. While they look for scientific solutions, an increasing number of people recall a life that their friends and family do not. And there you have it, 10 of America's most chilling unsolved mysteries, stories that haunt the minds of those involved and continue to baffle investigators. What do you think happened in these cases? Do you have any theories or experiences of your own? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this dive into the unknown, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Creepshow, and hit the bell icon to stay updated on our latest spine-chilling episodes. Until next time, stay curious and stay scared.